Welcome, fellow druids, to another perfect drop. Again, episode idea given to me by a fan of the show, and I did another one of these last week or maybe the week before, talking about a list. And this time I'm going to try to do a few more of these. I actually kind of enjoy them. So I'm gonna just to give a little preface. I'm going to take a somewhat popular list. So far I've been taking ones that have shown up from tournaments, but may not always go that way. And talking about what a list that is played in Circle is a perfect drop into it. I'll try to stick with some of the more conventional drops or things that I've talked about, but may not always be the case. And we're not necessarily focused on how the perfect list exists in how do I want to say this? Exists in a pairing, but just if you knew you were going to play against list A, what's the best list B to bring? And so today I'm talking about Borka2 in the Power of Dhunia, and this is the list made popular by one Tim Banky of Canadian WTC fame and lots of judging. And so the list is in the show notes, but just to go over it real quick, it's Borka2. Who's Vengeance of the Rimeshaws, however you say that. 2 Earthborns, Mulg, Rock, a Storm Troll, an Axer, the Runebearer, 2 pods of Whelps, Minstone with the regular UA, and Lynus and Edrea. So what's a perfect drop into this list? I actually played this matchup. I didn't play against Tim. I played against, I talked about it last week. It was in my Adepticon notes. But, yeah, so I played this match, and actually in losing that game, I decided I knew what it needed to be done, and I actually would say, and mind you, in these episodes, this is not the only drop that it is good, and I'm making some assumptions. So I said way back when I started the show, this is just the opinions of a guy who's maybe a slightly above average tournament player. So as always, take it with a grain of salt. But I think my Una 2 list is actually a pretty perfect drop into this. And you might say, well, why is that? And the answer to that is threat range. So the situation with the Borka list is that there's a few things. One, he has Battle Charge, which gives him Counter Charge, which is something you're definitely going to have to play into. 2, he definitely has beasts that hit very hard and are under the Krielstone, so you're going to need something that can put out a decent amount of damage. 3, the longest threat range, most of his beasts are speed 5 with 1-inch melee. Borka is 1 less, but 1 more with the club, and they have rush. So you're looking at, let's see, let's just talk about the Earthborn, I guess. Assuming that you don't give them favorable terrain to get additional speed, the Earthborn is going to be speed 5. He can go up to 7, or functionally up to 7 with rush. So he goes 10, 11 inches. Basically, everything in that list does not threaten any more than 11 inches, with the exception of Borka, who's speed 7, so 10 goes 12. At that point, the only range things you need to worry about are Lynus and the Storm Troll. So if you can stay safe from... Borka has there's a couple small things, but so if you can play safe from those are the 2 things that have range threat, right? So the rest is melee threat. I actually played into this and made the mistake of engaging into it because I thought I would trade up even with the feat, but basically because of the feat, if what you want to do is keep them in your threat range, because eventually he will have to enter your threat, right? I just mentioned 11 inches. As long as you have not used your feat with Una. Wolf Riders threaten 13 in melee. 12, sort of 12 and a half if you want to get the impacts, depending on the situation, which means you grossly out-threaten there. You have your battle group, which consists of a lot of Scarsfell Griffins, and they are particularly good in this situation because your feat gets around counter charge. Because you cannot be targeted by melee attacks, they can't charge you, and even if they could, they will not damage you. or they won't be able to make the attack against you, which is massive. A lot of what Borka wants to be able to do is move out of, is to try to make coming into that break seem very difficult by you engaging one thing and getting off those counter charges. The Wolf Riders are also pretty good at denying counter charge because you can get enough of them out there basically to sort of make it awkward if you can just engage things. Anyways, so what you want to do if you go first, you basically want to you basically want to position such that you're either going to feat before, if he's walks into your threat range and doesn't feat, you go ahead and feat and take it to him. And what you want to do is take out as many of their heavies as you can, or key models as you can. If you can kill Mulg, absolutely. If you have any ability to put any damage into the Krielstone to reduce its aura, it's only a min Krielstone. You can do that with Una. You can do that with potentially Wolf Riders. You can do that with your Chain Lightnings off of your Shaman, assuming you played the exact version of my list. And I didn't put it in here. I've talked about it a bunch on the show, but it's my list is 6 Griffins, a Gorax, Una, of course, 1 Shifting Stones, Gallows Grove, 2 full Wolf Riders, Thorn Shaman, Thorn White Mane, and Blood Weaver Night Witch, and Lynus, who is not unimportant in this either. Yeah. So, anyways, if they don't feat and they give you threat range, hit them with the alpha, take out. You want to basically be in a situation where you're trading way up on them. So, you know, if you can take 3 to 4 of their heavies off the table with that alpha, it doesn't really matter. You've got the game at that point. Even if, yeah, as long as you can keep Una safe for the whole game. If they do move up in feet, which I suspect that they likely will, first look at where Borka actually is sitting and how much Borka is actually camping. If you can put, I have played into many Borka2 players, and one of the mistakes, and this was more in Mark 2 than now, and Borka was a little less survivable then, so, you know, I haven't had this happen as much in Mark 3. If Borka puts himself in a situation where he is too far forward and camping too little, yes, he can go up to armor 22. However, if you can get a significant amount of attacks on Borka, that may not matter, right? So if you can get if Borka moves up there and say doesn't camp any, and you can put and you can run Griffin to flank, and I would say if you get and it's important you have to run 1, because as you become stationary, you won't get flanked. So you run 1, and then as you get and you put as many primals out as you can, you may actually be into a situation where you're able to get you know, in the neighborhood of, gosh, you know, if you can get four birds on him, I have not run this math, mind you, but if you can get 4 birds with primal, which is doable, even if you get 3 with primal, you're talking about POW 14 weapon master charges. You're at, the first one's going to be at dice minus, I assume the Krielstone's there. Again, if you can take out Krielstone and keep him out of that, then you're even more gold. But you're going to have dice minus, let's see, POW 14. The first one will be dice minus 6. And then the other ones will be dice minus 8. 1 Hand of Fate maybe out there, depending on the number of birds you're able to get on him. You would be surprised that can actually kill him. I think it's more of a thing with somebody like Borka2, who used to be my drop into trolls all the time in Mark 2 when I was playing him, where if Borka feats and you primal up 3 or 4 heavies and he only camped 1, you probably can kill him. So just watch for that. Do the math when you see it. With the Griffins list, you might be less likely to get that, but just watch for that. The other advantage of your list is Borka has, even with the Runebearer, Borka only has a 12-inch control area. where you have a 14-inch control area, and Una's Wolf Riders are able to go completely wide. He does not have a lot of units. He has Lynus and Edrea, and he has the Krielstone. Those are his units that can score the zone. So he's going to have to put Borka in most zones to score, and you should be able to use Wolf Riders to kill. Like, a Wolf Rider will kill Lynus and Edrea much of the time, even if you can't make the ranged attack. So watch for that stuff. Try to use... You can pretty much use everything here. Your threat range gets even farther with Lynus Arisal. He does not... That list does not play Lynus, so you are not... And even if it did, you have stealth in most cases. Keep Una safe all the time. Watch out for any stationaries. Your birds do not want to have that, and it will turn off flank. So do not try to engage your birds into their lines on his feet. At most... and this is what I learned from this match. At most, put maybe 1 or 2 of your Wolf Riders in front of him and do not attack with them. Just put them there to jam him up a little bit and then retaliate the next turn. You can afford to probably lose that much and still be okay in that matchup. So anyways, I think Una 2 is the perfect matchup into Borka2. Certainly watch into the pairing because she probably doesn't want to play Nicole Grima. Or if you do, you want to be very careful because the no flight from her feet will actually turn off much of what you want to do. In any case, yeah. So that's an example of a perfect match. We'll do some more of these episodes. I actually find them kind of fun, and they go pretty fast. And yeah, so as always, if you enjoyed the show, like us, subscribe, comment, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, all there. Links are in the notes. The list I talked about is also in the show notes. If you have any more discussion on how to play into this list, that'll absolutely be great to talk about. So in any case, thanks again for watching.